Author H.P. Lovecraft inspired many to visit Providence, and his legacy still does today. Now the H.P. Lovecraft Arts and Sciences Council wants to get weird and to give the city a life-size bronze statue of the iconic author. So here to tell us about their efforts and how you can get involved through a fun and funky fundraiser are C.J. Opperthauser of the Lovecraft Arts and Sciences Council and sculptor Gage Prentice. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So H.P. Lovecraft, if you're from around here, you know that name, but for some viewers who maybe still kind of unsure as to who he was, give us a refresher.
Well, he was born in 1890 in Providence. Actually, today is the day of his death in 1937, so
Wow.
it's an important day. He is the father of weird fiction, which is kind of a mashup of science fiction, horror, and fantasy. He, let's see.
He's really inspired a lot of people, though, too. And like you said, it's it's a different genre. It's something that maybe a lot of people weren't even familiar with.
Absolutely. He created the genre, kind of continuing on in the legacy of Edgar Allan Poe and Lord Dunsany and Algernon Blackwood. He, through a correspondence of friends, even though he didn't make any money during his life or any acclaim after he died, his friends published all of his works, and these works went all over the world, and over the years began to influence and inspire every single kind of media.
It really is impressive, but we hear that. I feel like we hear that a lot with authors and artists and things like that gaining fame after they pass. You guys, though, you want to just encapsulate him and remind people of him every single day by creating a statue. What was the inspiration there?
The inspiration is really to be, first of all, a gift to Providence. And he loved Providence very, very much, and Providence was a big part of who he was. As his gravestone says, I am Providence. But it's also, a marker for people who come to Providence to see all of Lovecraft's haunts and the sites he wrote about. It's a place for them to just go appreciate him physically in his city.
A presence.
Yeah, and to make all of this possible, though, I mean, we're not talking about this tiny statue here. We want to go life-size with this. And for that, we need to raise funds. You guys are having a really fun event.
Yes. So tomorrow night, Cabinet of Curiosities, something that Gage and I have worked on together. It's at the Providence Athenaeum. It's going to be really cool. There's lots of weird entertainment going on, a lot of surprises. We have live music, we have food, drink. The statue in progress will be there. Gage will carefully haul it down.
Yeah, Gage, you were saying we'll kind of be able to see what it looks like.
It's a far stretch away from this sketch, which is what we used to give City Hall an idea of what we were going for. It's going to be the actual 5'10" on an 8 inch base wax work in progress. It's very fragile, but it's coming along beautifully, and I think people will really like to see where it's headed.
Yeah, and to know that they had a part in kind of helping put that together. So talk about some of the elements here that you did. We know he kind of wrote about some weird things that probably explains this. What's going on with the cats?
Well, the challenge of putting the piece together so you didn't just have, an older man standing there on the street.
Right.
Was to try to symbolically show all the trappings of his work. So, on the left, he was inspired by astronomy and science. So that is looking up into the past. In his right hand, he's holding his first collection of stories. Yeah. And from that, the kind of ever-changing, ambiguous horror that he's famous for, the cosmic horror.
Very cool.
And the cats, of course, he adored cats. He thought that they were the universe's best invention, and these symbolize his fantasy and his poetry, symbolizing the cats from the Cats of Ulthar.
Well thought out. Guys, it sounds like a great event. Thank you so much for coming in and shedding some more light on H.P. Lovecraft.